There's a betrayal happening right now, and you're calling it understanding. Someone you care about keeps telling you they're busy, and you keep believing them because you're terrified of being the needy one, the demanding one, the one who asks for too much. So you shrink yourself, you make your needs smaller. You tell yourself that real love means patience, that good people don't require attention, that mature hearts wait without complaining. But here's the truth that's eating you alive from the inside. You're not waiting for their schedule to clear. You're waiting to matter. You check your phone and there's nothing. You see their name and your heart does that stupid, hopeful jump. But it's just your own message from 3 days ago, still unanswered, sitting there like a monument to your irrelevance. Meanwhile, they're posting stories, liking photos, living a whole life that somehow has room for everything except you. And the cruelest part, you've convinced yourself this is normal, that busy people operate like this, that their absence is just circumstantial, just temporary, just bad timing. But your soul knows better. Your soul knows that busy is just a gentler word for you're not my priority. And tonight, I'm going to show you what's really happening behind that word, why it's destroying you in ways you haven't admitted, and what the universe is screaming at you to finally understand. Let me tell you something that's going to hurt before it heals you. When someone truly wants you in their life, you become the thing they make time for, not the thing they fit in if time allows. Think about this carefully. That person who's too busy for a 10-minute phone call. They somehow found 3 hours to binge watch a show last night. They somehow found time to scroll social media, to meet up with certain friends, to pursue their hobbies, to do literally everything that actually matters to them. And you're watching this happen. You're watching them have time for their world while you're supposed to feel grateful for the crumbs they toss your way when guilt finally catches up with them. Here's what nobody wants to tell you. People aren't too busy for you. They're just not bothered enough about losing you to prioritize you. That's it. That's the whole truth stripped of its polite packaging. They've done the math in their head, consciously or not, and decided that you'll stick around anyway, that you're safe to neglect, that your love, your friendship, your presence doesn't require maintenance because it's just always there. Like furniture, like wallpaper, like something so permanent it doesn't need attention. And every single time you accept, I'm busy, without consequence, you're teaching them they're right. But here's where it gets deeper, where it cuts into the bone. The person who's always too busy for you isn't just showing you where you rank on their priority list. They're showing you something about yourself that you've been running from. They're showing you that you've made yourself too available, too understanding, too endlessly patient. You've become the person who never complains, who never demands, who never requires effort. And in doing so, you've accidentally taught them that you don't require effort. Think about how you treat things you value. When something matters to you, when something lights you up inside, do you forget about it for weeks? Do you let it gather dust while you attend to less important things? No. You make it happen. You create space. You rearrange your life because the thought of losing it is unbearable. That's how humans work. We orbit around what we treasure, and if someone isn't orbiting around you, if you're perpetually on the outskirts of their attention, waiting for them to remember you exist, then you're not treasured them. You're a trinket, something nice to have around, but nothing they'd burn their schedule down to keep. And the universe, in its infinite wisdom, keeps putting this pain in front of you, not to torture you, but to wake you up, to show you that you're participating in your own heartbreak, that you're the one who keeps accepting less, keeps making excuses, keeps staying when everything in you knows you should walk away. Now, before I show you what happens next, I need you to do something for me right now. If this is touching that raw place in your heart, that place you've been protecting and pretending doesn't hurt, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel, because every single week, we dive into the truths about love, connection, and self-worth that nobody else has the courage to say out loud. Turn on that notification bell, because what's coming in the next videos will completely transform how you see yourself and every relationship you're in. Trust me, You don't want to miss what's next. Now, let me tell you a story that's going to break your heart and put it back together. There was a woman who loved a man with the kind of love that poets write about. For 2.5 years, she built her schedule around his maybes. He'd say, "I'm slammed with work this week. Let's catch up soon." And she'd wait. She'd cancel plans with friends because maybe he'd suddenly have time. She'd keep her weekends loose because maybe this would be the weekend he'd finally prioritize her. She watched him post about concerts he attended, trips he took, dinners with friends, and every single time she'd tell herself the same lie. He's busy, he's stressed, he cares, he just needs time. Until one Tuesday afternoon when she was grabbing coffee, and there he was, with someone else, laughing in a way she'd forgotten people could laugh, looking at this other person like they'd hung the moon. And in that moment, standing there with her heart cracking open in a coffee shop, she understood. He was never too busy. He was too busy for her. There's a difference. And it's the difference between everything and nothing. He had time. He had energy. He had presence and attention and effort to give. He just chose to give it somewhere else. And she realized she'd spent 2.5 years making herself smaller and quieter and more convenient, shrinking her needs down to almost nothing, all to accommodate someone who never once rearranged a single thing for her. That night, she did something she should have done years ago. She stopped reaching out. She stopped being available. She stopped making excuses for him in her head. And within a week, he noticed, suddenly, he had questions. Suddenly, he had time. Suddenly, his schedule cleared just enough to wonder where she went. But by then, something in her had shifted. She discovered that the pain of his absence was somehow less than the pain of accepting his inconsistent presence. She'd learned that you can't lose something you never really had. And she'd finally understood what the universe had been trying to teach her all along. Your value isn't determined by someone else's inability to see it. The people who are meant for you don't make you beg for breadcrumbs. They offer you the whole feast. Here's what that story reveals about your situation right now. The person who's always too busy for you is giving you information. Painful information. Clear information. Information you keep trying to reinterpret because accepting it means accepting something you're terrified to face. But the universe doesn't give you these experiences to break you. It gives them to you to build you, to show you where you're betraying yourself by accepting less than you deserve. To reveal where you're so afraid of being alone that you're tolerating emotional abandonment and calling it patience. There's a spiritual law that most people never learn. What you tolerate becomes your standard. And right now, you've set a standard that says, I'm okay with maybe, I'm okay with someday, I'm okay with being someone's background option. And the universe, which wants you to thrive, which wants you to experience real love and genuine connection, keeps creating situations that force you to raise that standard. Every unanswered text is a teacher. Every canceled plan is a lesson. Every time they have time for everyone. But you is the universe holding up a mirror and asking, how much longer are you going to do this to yourself? Because here's the mystical truth underneath all of this. The people in your life are mirrors reflecting back how you value yourself. And if someone is showing you through their actions that you're not a priority, it's because somewhere inside, you've accepted that about yourself. So what do you do now? How do you break this cycle that's been breaking your heart? First, you stop making yourself so available that you become invisible. You stop dropping everything when they finally throw you a moment of attention. You stop rewarding their neglect with your endless patience. You become, for the first time in this connection, unavailable. Not out of revenge or manipulation, but out of simple respect for your own worth. When they text after days of silence, you don't respond immediately like you've been waiting by the phone. Because you haven't been. You've been living your life. Investing in people who actually show up. Building a world that doesn't revolve around someone's convenient moments. And yes, this might mean losing them. But let me ask you something. What are you actually losing? You're losing someone who already showed you they don't value your presence. You're losing anxiety and waiting and wondering. You're losing the exhausting mental gymnastics of making excuses for someone who can't be bothered to try. You're losing the person you became in trying to be low maintenance, enough for them to choose you. And maybe, just maybe, that's not a loss. Maybe that's the universe finally giving you permission to trade almost for everything. To trade crumbs for the feast. To trade someone who makes you question your worth for someone who makes it obvious. Here's my final truth for you, and I need you to let this land in that deep place where you make real decisions. If someone is consistently too busy for you, the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for them is to believe them and adjust accordingly. Not with anger, not with drama, just with quiet dignity. You pull back your energy. You redirect your love. You stop auditioning for a role in their life that they've already cast someone else in. And you trust that the universe has something better waiting for you. Someone who doesn't need to be convinced of your value. Someone who doesn't need reminders to check in. Someone for whom making time for you isn't a sacrifice but a joy. Those people exist. The kind of love that doesn't leave you wondering exists. The connections where you matter without having to shrink yourself exist. But you'll never find them while you're exhausting yourself on someone who's shown you consistently that you're not their person. So tonight, when that part of you wants to reach out again, wants to give them another chance, wants to believe that this time will be different, I want you to ask yourself one question. Am I choosing this person? Or am I choosing the fantasy of what this person could be if they just tried? Because one of those is real, and one of those is slowly destroying you. Be brave enough to choose reality. Be strong enough to walk away from almost. The right people won't make you wonder. They won't make you wait. They won't make you feel like loving them is a gamble where you keep losing. They'll show up and they'll stay. And you'll finally understand what you were really waiting for all along. Not them, but yourself. Yourself brave enough to demand better. Yourself whole enough to walk away. Yourself awake enough to know that you were never too much. They were just not enough for you.